Welcome to NCM110, Nursing Informatics. Informatics Theory. What is nursing informatics? Nursing informatics is an established and growing area of specialization in nursing. All nurses employ information technologies in their practice. Informatics nurses are key persons in the design, development, implementation, and evaluation of these technologies, and in the development of the specialty's body of knowledge. Decision-making is an integral part of daily life. Nurses regularly make frequent, critical life-impacting decisions. Good decisions require accurate and accessible data, as well as skill in processing information. At the heart of nursing informatics is the goal of providing nurses with the data, information, and support for information processing to make effective decisions. This decision can encompass any and all of the following areas of nursing practice: client care, research, education, and administration. An informatics nurse, or IN, is a registered nurse who has experience in nursing informatics. Informatics nurse specialists, or INS, are prepared at the graduate level, or what we call the master's degree, with specialty courses in nursing informatics. An INS functions as a graduate level prepared specialty nurse. Foundational documents guide nursing informatics practice. Number 1, we have the Code of Ethics for Nurses with interpretive statements. Nursing Social Policy Statement, 2nd edition. Nursing Social Policy Statement, The Essence of the Profession. And Nursing Scope and Standards of Practice, 2nd edition. In 2001, the American Nurses Association, or ANA, published the Code of Ethics for Nurses with interpretive statements, a complete revision of previous ethics provisions and interpretive statements that guide all nurses in practice, be it in the domains of direct patient care, education, administration, or research. Nurses working in the informatics specialty are professionally bound to follow these provisions. Terms such as decision-making, comprehension, information, knowledge, shared goals, outcomes, privacy, confidentiality, disclosure, policies, protocols, evaluation, judgment, standards, and factual documentation abound throughout the explanatory language of the interpretive statements. In 2003, a second foundational provisional document, Nursing Social Policy Statement, 2nd edition, provided a new definition of nursing that was reaffirmed in the 2010 Nursing Social Policy Statement, The Essence of the Profession. It states, nursing is the protection, promotion, and optimization of health and abilities, prevention of illness and injury, alleviation of suffering through the diagnosis and treatment of human response, and advocacy in the care of individuals, families, communities, and populations. The ANA's Nursing Scope and Standards of Practice 2nd edition further reinforces the recognition of nursing as a cognitive profession. The exemplary competencies accompanying each of the 16 standards of professional nursing practice, comprised of standards of practice and standards of professional performance, reflect the specific knowledge, skills, abilities, and judgment capabilities expected of registered nurses. The standards include data, information, and knowledge management activities as core work for all nurses. This cognitive work begins with the critical thinking and decision-making components of the nursing process that occur before nursing action can begin. Nursing process. The nursing process provides a delineated pathway and process for decision making. Assessment or data collection and information processing begins the nursing process. Diagnosis or problem definition, the second step, reflects the interpretation of the data and information gathered during assessment. Outcomes identification is the third step, followed by planning as the fourth step. Implementation of a plan is the fifth step. The final component of the nursing process is evaluation. The nursing process is most often presented as a linear process with evaluation listed as the last step. However, the nursing process really is iterative, includes numerous feedback loops, and incorporates evaluation activities throughout the sequencing. For example, evaluation of a plan's implementation may prompt further assessment, a new diagnosis or problem definition, and decision-making about new outcomes and related plans. Informatics and healthcare informatics. Informatics is a science that combines a domain science, computer science, information science, and cognitive science. Healthcare informatics may be defined as the integration of healthcare sciences, computer science, information science, and cognitive science to assist in the management of healthcare information. Informatics is a multidisciplinary science drawing from varied theories and knowledge applications. Healthcare informatics is a subset of informatics. Imagine a large umbrella named informatics and imagine many persons under this umbrella. Each person represents a different domain science, one of which is healthcare informatics. Healthcare informatics addresses the study and management of healthcare information. Nursing informatics. So nursing informatics, or NI, is a subset of healthcare informatics. It shares common areas of science with other health profession and therefore easily supports interprofessional education, practice, and research focused on healthcare informatics. Nursing informatics also has unique areas that address the special information needs for the nursing profession. Nurses work both collaboratively with other healthcare professionals and independently when engaged in clinical and administrative nursing practice. Nursing informatics reflects this duality as well, moving in and out of integration and separation as situations and needs demand. Models for nursing informatics. Clinical Information System Model, or your CIS, shows how modeling can be used to organize different concepts into a logical whole. The purpose of this model is to depict system components, influencing factors, and relationships that need to be considered when attempting to capture the complexities of professional nursing practice. CIS is an information system designed specifically for use in the critical care environment, such as in an intensive care unit. It can network with the many computer systems in a modern hospital, such as pathology and radiology. It draws information from all these systems into an electronic patient record, which clinicians can see at the patient's bedside. Graves and Corcoran's model. The model placed data, information, and knowledge in sequential boxes with one-way arrows pointing from data to information to knowledge. The management processing box is directly above with arrows pointing in one direction from management processing to each of the three boxes. Schwerian Model. In 1986, Patricia Schwerian proposed a model of nursing informatics intended to stimulate and guide systematic research in this discipline. Her concern was over the sparse volume of research literature in nursing informatics. The model provides a framework for identifying significant information needs, which in turn can foster research. In this model, there are four primary elements arranged in a pyramid with a triangular base. The four elements are the raw material, or the nursing-related information, the technology, or a computing system comprised of hardware and software, the user surrounded by context, or the nurses students, and the goal or objective toward which the preceding elements are directed. Bidirectional arrows connect the three base components of raw material, user, and computer system to form the pyramid's triangular base. The goal element is placed at the apex of the pyramid to show its importance. Similarly, all interactions between the three base elements and the goal are represented by bidirectional arrows. Turles Model. According to Turles Model, the core components of informatics is composed of cognitive science, information science, and computer science, and depicted as intersecting circles. In Turles Model, nursing science is a larger circle that completely encompasses the intersecting circles. Nursing informatics is the intersection between the discipline-specific science, which is the nursing, and the area of informatics. McGonigal and Mastrian Model. McGonigal and Mastrian developed the foundation of knowledge model. The base of this model shows data and information distributed randomly. From this base, transparent cones grow upward and intersect. The upward cones represent acquisition, generation, and dissemination of knowledge. Knowledge processing is represented by the intersections of these three cones. Circling and connecting all of the cones is feedback. The cones and feedback circle are dynamic in nature. Theory supporting nursing informatics. So basically, a theory is a scholarly organized view of some aspect of the world. Theories can describe, explain, predict, or prescribe selected phenomena within this reality. The concepts within a theory are interrelated. Testing of these relationships through research is how theories gain or lose supporting evidence. Theories can be classified as grand, middle range, and situation-specific or practice theories. Grand theories are broad in scope and the most complex of the three classifications. Practice theories are the most specific of the three. These theories usually provide prescriptions or directions for practitioners. Middle-range theories are somewhere in the middle of these two ends. They are more specific than grand theories, but not as prescriptive as practice theories. Theories are part of an interrelated circular triad: research, theory, and practice. Entry into this triad can occur at any point. For example, research leads to the development of theory, which can be applied to practice. Alternatively, practitioners can raise questions about clients and or activities related to clients, which leads to research that generates theory. So we have the different nursing theories: grand nursing theories and middle range nursing theories. Grand nursing theories discuss nursing practice in broad terms, providing different worldviews of how, when, and why nurses relate to clients. Middle-range nursing theories might describe a particular phenomenon of interests to nurses, explain how one phenomenon relates to one or more other phenomena, or predict how a phenomenon impacts nurses or clients. Computer science. Computer science is the study of algorithms for solving computation problems. If an algorithm can be identified for solving a particular problem, an automated solution to the problem can be developed. Computer science has many subfields. Some emphasize computation of specific results, such as computer graphics, while others relate to properties of computational problems, for example, computational complexity. Others focus on challenges in implementing computations. For example, programming language theory studies ways to describe computations. Computer programming applies specific programming languages to solve specific computational problems. Despite its name, computer science rarely involves the study of computers themselves. A computer is a tool of this science and not its focus. Computer science research has often crossed into other disciplines such as artificial intelligence, cognitive science, physics, information science, and linguistics. Information science. Information science focuses on the gathering, manipulation, classification, storage, and retrieval of recorded knowledge. Information science can be socially oriented, focused on humans and machines, and closely linked to communications and human behavior. Information science tries to understand problems from the perspective of the stakeholders and applies information and technology as needed to solve the problems. Three important branches of information science are information retrieval, human-computer interactions, from the perspective of knowledge manipulation, and information handling within a system or human and machine. Communication. Communication theory uses the core concepts of the mathematical theory of communication and additional principles developed to analyze information transfer and the effectiveness and efficiency of communications. The mathematical theory of communication works introduce the concept of the communication channel. This communication channel consists of a sender or a source of information, a transmission medium with noise and distortion, and a receiver whose goal is to reconstruct the sender's messages. Another core concept is encoding and decoding. If the amount of information to be transmitted exceeds the channel capacity, there are unavoidable and uncorrectable errors in the transmission. If the amount of information to be sent is below the channel of capacity, there is a way to encode the information so that it can be received without errors. Once encoded, the receiver has to decode the message. Cognitive science. Cognitive science is the study of the mind, of how we think. Another way of saying this is that cognitive science looks at the mental activities and processes. This science is broad in scope, and in the sciences it encompasses cognitive technologies, including computers, smartphones, and web browsers, are media emerging from cognitive science that help in learning, memory, problem solving, and living daily life in modern society. Cognitive enhancements of biological-based intelligence and so-called artificial intelligence are two significant branches of these technologies. Systems. Systems theory relates to the properties of systems as a whole. Systems theory focuses on the organization and interdependence of relationships within a system. A system is any set or group of interdependent or temporarily interacting parts. Parts are systems themselves and are composed of other parts. The boundary of a system may be open or closed. A closed system has an impermeable boundary and does not interact with the surrounding environment. One example of a closed system is the human circulatory system. The circulatory system is considered closed because the blood never leaves the system of blood vessels. An open system can be influenced by events outside of the actual or conceptual boundaries. Open systems usually have semi-permeable boundaries that restrict the exchange of selective components but allow free exchange of all other components. An open system interacts with the surrounding environment. Information systems and people are usually considered open systems, although there can be closed systems within these open systems. Behavioral and social sciences. The study of behavior. These are the processes driving the actions. The focus of the behavioral and social sciences. These two terms, behavioral and social, are often combined or used interchangeably when examining how people act alone and with others. Behavior can include emotions, cognition, and motivation. Social processes and acts can be status or demographic, economic, or cultural levels of social context and biosocial interactions. Change. Change is disruptive, messy, and complicated. Even with the best laid plans, events rarely occur exactly as they were predicted. In healthcare informatics and nursing informatics, change most often has to be dealt with among groups of people and healthcare organizations. Change processes entail not only structures and ways of doing the tasks, but also the performance, expectations, and perceptions of all involved parties. The informatics nurse specialist, or INS, is often the primary change agent in facilitating the implementation of clinical information systems in healthcare settings. The INS has a unique understanding of the nursing issues that can affect the change process and thus is in a key position to facilitate positive implementation outcomes. Lewin's basic plan change model. We have three: unfreezing, changing, and refreezing. Unfreezing involves overcoming inertia and dismantling the existing mindset. Defense mechanisms or resistance patterns have to be bypassed. Measuring the perceptions of those who will experience the change is an important part of this stage. A change agent must uncover reasons or rewards that will be influential in unfreezing or changing a behavior. That is what is important to the people. To apply this idea to nursing informatics, consider an information system implementation. In this situation, the identified reasons or rewards can be used to help convert behavioral intent to actual behavior. In the second stage, called moving, the behavioral change occurs. Typically, this stage is a period of confusion. People are aware that the old ways are being challenged, but not yet have a clear picture of how to replace the old ways. The third, final stage is rephrasing. A new mindset has formed, and the comfort level is returning to previous levels. Diffusion of innovations. Everett Rogers identified 5 specific groups of innovation adopters. These groups are known as innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. Each adopter's willingness and ability to adopt an innovation would depend on their awareness, interest, evaluation, trial, and adoption. Rogers also presented characteristics for each category of adopter. 5 stages model for the diffusion of innovation. Along with the concept of different categories of innovation adopters, Rogers proposed a 5-stage model for the different diffusion of innovation. Stage 1 is knowledge, learning about the existence and function of the innovation. Stage 2 is persuasion, becoming convinced of the value of the innovation. Stage 3, the adopter makes a decision, committing to the adoption of the innovation. Stage 4 is the implementation, putting it to use. And stage 5 is the confirmation, the ultimate acceptance or rejection of the innovation. Understanding the social forces underlying innovation diffusion is critical for effective management of the process of implementing an informatics innovation, such as a healthcare information system. Because of the investment of time, energy, and economic resources in implementing an information system, organizations and the people involved in the implementation must be aware of the human elements influencing successful implementation and subsequent adoption. To be adopted, innovations must appeal to people. People must see something in an innovation that they like or want. Learning. Learning is a process of acquiring knowledge, skills, attitudes, or values through study, experience, or teaching. Learning causes a change in behavior that is persistent, measurable, and specified. Learning allows someone to formulate a new mental construct or revise a prior mental construct. There are numerous theories addressing how people learn. Behaviorists believe that learning processes can be studied most objectively when the focus is on stimuli and responses, also known as operant conditioning. At a very simplistic level, think of this learning approach as having two basic elements. First, there is a pairing, a combination of a stimulus and a response. Then, there is reinforcement, which is the stimulus-response element that has two pathways. One is positive reinforcement, in which every stimulus is followed by something pleasant, or in which the stimulus itself is a good experience. This positive experience encourages continued learning. The other pathway is negative reinforcement, where learners may associate a stimulus with unpleasant or painful experiences. Cognitive learning theory focuses on internal mental processes, including insight, information processing, memory, and perception. Adult learning theory focuses on understanding how adults learn as opposed to children. Adult learning brings a great deal of experience to the learning environment. Educators can use this experience as a resource. Adults expect to have a high degree of influence on what they are to be educated and how they are to be educated. Organizational behavior. Organizational behavior is a distinct field focused on organization. In this field, organizations are examined using the methods drawn from economics, sociology, political science, anthropology, and psychology. Both individual and group dynamics in an organizational setting are studied, as well as the nature of the organizations themselves. Organizational behavior is becoming more important in the global economy as people with diverse backgrounds and cultural values have to work together effectively and efficiently. A healthy organization has a balance among the participants of autonomy, control, and cooperation. Management. Management science uses mathematics and other analytical methods to help make better decisions, generally in a business context. While often considered synonymous with operations research, management science is differentiated from OR by a more practical rather than academic. The management scientist uses rational systematic, science-based techniques to inform and improve decisions of all kinds. Naturally, the techniques of management science are not restricted to business applications, but may be applied to military situations, clinical decision support, public administration, charitable groups, political groups, or community groups. Some of the methods within management science are decisions analysis, optimization, simulation, forecasting, game theory, graph theory, network problems, transportation forecasting models, mathematical modeling, and queuing theory, as well as many others. Group dynamics. Group dynamics is a social science field that focuses on the nature of groups. Urges to belong or to identify may make for distinctly different attitudes. It could be recognized or unrecognized, and the influence of a group may rapidly become strong, influencing or overwhelming individual proclivities and actions. Within any organization, there are formal and informal groups, each applying pressure on individuals to different degrees. Informal groups have a powerful influence on the effectiveness of an organization and can even subvert its formal goals. But the informal group's role is not limited to resistance. The impact of the informal group upon the larger formal group depends on the norms that the informal group sets. So, the informal group can make the formal organization more effective too. Tuckman stages for a group. Tuckman's model states that the ideal group decision-making process should occur in 4 stages. We have the forming, storming, norming, and performing. Forming, pretending to get on or get along with others. Storming, letting down the politeness barrier and trying to get down to the issues even if tempers flare up. Norming, getting used to each other and developing trust and productivity. And performing, working in a group to a common goal on a highly efficient and cooperative basis. Nursing Informatics Framework. The framework for nursing informatics relies on the central concepts of the following. We have data, information, and knowledge. Data defined as discrete entities that are described objectively without interpretation. Information, data that is interpreted, organized, or structured. Knowledge, information that has been synthesized so that the interrelationships are identified and formalized, resulting in a decision that guide the practice.